tough. This is Bobby Mills from the Independent Online for our second installment of End Zone Online, and we're on the campus. That sounds good. The campus of Northwest High School. With me is head coach. I almost said Dick Stein, Kevin Stein of Northwest Vikings High School football. So, Coach, we're not gonna. This isn't gonna all be about Northwest High football. This is gonna be about Coach Kevin Stein. I want to make him tick sometimes. But first of all, I do have to ask you, how did you come out of the McCook game injury-wise?
Yeah, a lot of bumps and bruises. We really throughout the game, we were kind of mash unit, but nothing was really serious. Gosh, one play we had both D tackles go down, and the one gets rolled up onto his ankle, so the knee kind of flops and rolls over onto our other guy's knee, and just kind of went bam, bam, they both go down, and then. The next series, we lose a tackle D end kid. And there's a couple others on top of that, but they were each for 1 to 4 series. So there's times there's really kind of a struggle, but nothing, knock on wood, was bad, and not going to miss anything for this year, this week, and
so we're all
stuff like that. Yeah, some ice bags and some ibuprofen, and away we go.
So was there a lot of? It had to be hot in McCook. It had to be. It always hot in McCook. So was it? The humidity was high and everything.
It was horrendous. Warm-ups was unbelievable. But fortunately, if you know how McCook is, it's kind of set down that bowl. We were able to get a little sunset earlier than normal.
Good.
They kind of comes behind those trees and stuff. Really, there was a time where we got introduced our starters, and you went running out. It was 98 degrees, it was something like a 47-48% humidity, and you ran into the shadows, and it dropped down to about 85 in the shadows. And really, first quarter was really brutal, and then after that first quarter, it turned into just a nice, warm Nebraska evening.
Any breeze?
No,
not in that. Not in the bowl. Yeah.
No way.
I think they did that on purpose. Anyway.
They probably did.
So I wanted to let people know, the further east I go to football games in this state, the more of a mystery to some of the people. I'm not talking coaches. Everybody knows the Stein family. But a lot of people don't know about your family and how, I'd say, famous they are in the western part of the state, especially your father. Can you tell me a little bit about your father, Dick Stein, who I think is a legendary coach? And as a matter of fact, I just found out that he is ranked 26th on the list all time for wins in this state. 226. He won 11 and 2 kiss your sister ties, but we'll forget about that.
Yeah.
You said you grew up on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Can you say that you learned most of what you know now from your dad?
Oh gosh, everything originates back to it, and as I've taught and coached for 22nd year, and you always kind of change your offense and change your defense, and it always seems to be some kind of a little spin-off of what he did. Back in the day, I remember him run the 6-2, and then put as many guys basically on the line of scrimmage as you can, and that takes a little bit of our, I'm a 4-2 guy, and then really that's just kind of walking off what he would call defensive ends. We're walking those guys off, and then then he got into the phase of running the 5-3. 5-3, you got to have a mean middle linebacker, and this and that. Well, nowadays it's just a 3-5. It just walked off to a little bit more of the spread, and he's always been a little bit creative on offense. He's never been the norm of just ground and pound. He's always tried to be a little bit more innovative, and so I think that's where my brother and I kind of get to it, because my dad, he played at at CSU. He had a real good career. Was hoping to go to the pros, ended up trashing the knee. So back then they couldn't fix it like they did nowadays, and so he ended up going to the coaching route and did real well. Colorado, Wyoming, then we were down in Arizona. So that I think about this first 12, 13 years is not even in Nebraska. So,
you weren't?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, he wasn't.
He
okay.
wasn't, yeah. So we talked about 4 years at Hannah, a year or 2 at Greeley, at Holyoke, and then Estes Park, that's where I was born, and then 5 years. He took over the Yuma, Arizona, 5 miles from the border of Mexico. They had the longest losing streak in the nation, and he took that over. And ended up winning like 4 or 5 games in his first year.
Wow.
So it was a tough gig, though. Tough gig, that close to the border. So he wanted to get a little bit more back to the roots and fortunately got to Shatter, an awesome place, and that's what we called home. So he was only really there for, I want to say like 20 years, 22 years.
22 years, I think I read.
Yeah,
I didn't think he ever left the state. But I saw him twice, and once in a playoff game at Wood River, and our videographer and producer, Zach Mayhew, back here is a Wood River grad. And he was so calm. Of course, it was toward the end of the career, and a lot of coaches, was he always calm on the sidelines like that?
You get that scowl. All he had to do is get the eyebrows going.
Yeah.
And that was enough. Why?
But the kids knew it. You probably knew it. So.
And then when he's 6'5",
I know.
And not small.
No. Yeah, I respected that man a lot. It was great, and he was innovative on offense that day.
Yeah.
So, and then you have a brother that's was a good player. You were after him, both you guys.
I'm the baby of the
You're
family.
the baby of the family, both your brother and you played. Well, no, you played quarterback at Chadron, but then he switched to tight end when he went to Chadron State.
Yeah.
And you played quarterback at Chadron State.
He came in as a quarterback and was a quarterback the first couple of years. And became a tight end. He was All-American tight end, and now he's just doing great. And he left, or he went to high school and did the high school route for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, and then got the GA job at Chadron State, and doing awesome then. And so he really, it's always crazy. Here he is, a great tight end. He doesn't use him, really like we don't. And so, but his son now is a starting. His son's a starting quarterback as a freshman up at Chadron State, and go Eagles. We're 1-0.
That's right. Which and TD now, was that his boy?
TD, Tristan David.
Yep. Wow. And he broke all of. I'm trying to
Michael
think.
Wallstrom.
Yeah, hit that record.
Michael broke mine.
Just all the down the line.
Yeah.
So then, where was your first coaching job?
I went to Lee, met my wife at Lee, Nebraska.
Okay, and then
for 2 years.
Okay, and then Gordon Rushfield came in 1996.
13. Went there for 13 years.
Okay. Playoffs 9 out of the 13 years
Yeah.
out there. And I have to ask you, because I know what I think would be your biggest rival when you were at Gordon Rushfield, and I would be looking at the playoffs. It had to be Valentine, didn't it?
It was always that Valentine and Shatter.
They were always there.
Wow.
In 2004, you were all the way to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, that's semis.
Semis?
Got beat by Arnie.
Okay, Boone Central.
Yeah, we were up at half, and then they
Wow.
scored one, and they had one of those kicks where the kid almost missed the ball and it bounced off of our guys in the front.
I remember
line,
hearing that.
Goes
Yeah.
to us. So then a halfback pass on the next play. Oh, dagger. Darn Arnie.
Yeah, he's got a playbook of trick plays about that thick. So, yeah. Well, I just wondered about, and I'm going to ask you a question about Western Nebraska football. When you coached out there, was there any difference that you could see between, other than numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's not a ton of teams that have won a Class C1 title from that part of the state. You think it's a numbers game? Because it surely can't. I mean, talent-wise, kids are kids.
If I was gonna get in a street fight or needed to go just get down and dirty and do a job,
I know it's coming.
I'm taking a Western Nebraska kid.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, kids would come to practice and I forgot my cleats, so I'm just wearing my shoes today and here we go.
That's right.
No complaining. I got jeans on, I forgot my stuff, sorry, but let's practice.
That's the way it is out there, isn't it? And I'm honest.
That's not going to happen for the most part in Eastern Nebraska. But the opportunities you have to have a kid our kids, can come in and lift in the morning. They could go to a baseball game 6 miles away, and play a doubleheader, and then make it to basketball league, which is across town in that evening, and it could go all the time. So you're more skilled athlete, you're more ballers as far as being a basketball, football, baseball, and being able to do all that. They're more refined, and they're better at competition. At Gordon, we were playing pickup basketball ourselves or pickup football, and you never really got that competition of just being able to do things. So that's
probably the difference.
Very big difference. And Western Nebraska, when you come out here, and you get big-eyed a little bit because you're coming to civilization.
Well, speaking of Western Nebraska, as far as Northwest goes, I think that the NSAA must have looked at Northwest. And you're right now for 5 or 6 games on your Western Nebraska tour.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Did you see that schedule? I've never seen so many Western. And McCook is considered to me a Western Nebraska school. What about these trips? You think that affects? I mean, they try not to do it 2 weeks in a row, but
Yeah.
Is that-
Alliance went
I
2
can't
over
believe
and
that.
2 here. That's rough. You know, I don't freak out about it because I'm a West Nebraska guy. I'll go
Well,
out
yeah,
there,
you
that's
travel.
fine. I love it, you know. But they don't have anybody to play. So I always tell our people, we can complain about it, but who are they supposed to play? They can't go into Wyoming. Wyoming closed their borders down.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
Canada
Iowa
was
did
out.
too for basketball.
Yeah. So they just have no options. I mean, those 4 schools that are out there have an option of playing, saying close to McCook, which is not close.
It's not close.
Lexington, which is not close.
No.
And then you come to Northwest.
Yeah.
That's the next. So they really still have any options. I'm just fortunate that we only really go to 2 Panhandle schools each year.
Right, and if you're west of Aurora, you're gonna play those schools.
Absolutely.
There is no other way. There's no other way about it.
I just wish we could play Lexington and Hastings
Yeah, and yeah, why not?
because those are kind of 2 kind of big rivals for us.
I would say so. Yeah. I'm going to ask you one more question. We talked about schools. What about individual athletes from the western part of the state? Like, say, a couple of kids from Hemingford last year.
Ugh.
I thought that those kids could have played for Grand Islands Senior High, for Northwest, maybe, you know, Class A or Class B.
They're, you know,
You're not teams, but individuals. It's just going back
they
to what you
did
said.
because they had those couple kids. And their name eludes me because I remember my brother and I always talked about it, and I'm good friends with the Hemingford coach. Those kids did it in basketball.
I know.
Then they went to the state track meet, and they did it very well at state track meet. But man, they had great numbers. They just didn't compete very well. It just happens.
Yep.
You know, those kids were athletes, and they could have went anywhere, and they're from Hemingford.
Hemingford, the
Not
tight
far.
end and the defensive
Oh,
end is
good
the 2 I
night.
thought, and the running back, fullback maybe could have gone. And I
Thank
think
goodness they're Eagles now.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. But I still think they could have played
Oh.
Class A or Class B football.
Yeah.
And Ron Mimick and I were talking about how tough would it be for a good Class C1 team to jump up to Class B and compete, or B to A. I think there's a bigger gap there from B to A. I'm not sure. I don't know if you're talking about
Yeah.
Elkhorn or Elkhorn's. We're not talking about Omaha Northwest and Omaha Prime. But how tough would it be for a good Class B team to jump up and play in Class A and go 500?
I don't think that would be as big. You know, Elkhorn is always there on the bubble, and they
Oh, yeah.
and they do it.
Yeah.
You know, Hastings kind of bounce back and forth at times. So I don't think it. I would disagree with that. I would say going from a C1 to a B, just because B goes from like 200 kid enrollment to an 800 kid
That is
enrollment.
a gap,
You know,
unbelievable.
your largest C1 team really is going to have 180 to 190 kids in a school.
So you're thinking about
We're at
schools
800.
playing Northwest.
You know, we're 4 to 1.
Yeah.
I mean, for us,
Yeah.
going to the largest Class A is only 3 to 1. And that's going to the largest.
Yeah. So
Us
that's
going to senior high, 2 to 1, maybe 2.5 kids to 1.
big disparity there. So there's
So-
there's the answer to that one. So tell us about your Northwest High team this year.
Good. You know, we got a nice team. We like it. You know, I think it's just like any year, you hope for no injuries. I don't think you ever could have enough depth.
No.
Even if you're 2 deep, you want to be 3 deep.
How many kids are out?
You know, 9 through 12, we go just over 90.
Well, and
So-
you know, they think depth. He's got a lot of kids out there.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Especially when you run 3 legit programs. You have a 8 or 9 game freshman program, 8 or 9 JV, and then you go into you need 3 teams.
Oh, you do?
You know, because you're going to play 3 games a week.
Yeah.
So, and then, gosh, you always expect to have more ponies. You know,
I was gonna. What's the difference? I know what Jeff Tomlin would say in Class A. How big is the difference between the JV game and somebody coming up to play varsity in Class B?
it's the speed of the game. You know, size. You can overcome that. You know, back in the day when my dad started coaching, you just wanted the biggest dudes out there.
Yeah.
You didn't care how fast they were. You didn't care anything. Just let the big O line and the big hammer fullback just lean on people.
Yeah.
Nowadays, where it's spread offense, spread defense, things happen so much faster. So that's the major thing is from Monday night to a Thursday night to, you know, from your JV, your freshman to your varsity, it's just speed.
I was surprised at something you said on an interview about you not being concerned about having more contact time in practice. And that's kind of the way I looked at it a little bit, because you can work on mechanics. I don't think you ever can have too much of that.
Yes.
That's your firm. Because I thought there wasn't enough practice time myself, but I don't know. 2 a days that you're in school anyway.
Yeah, it is. It's it's a tough thing to balance with the contact. It is how much can you have, what can't you have, As a coach, you just can't do anything about it, because if you go over your time lot that you have for hitting and the kid gets hurt, you're done. Personally, not just professionally. And so you have to follow those rules. And so, I don't really mind it. But plus, we're not a in-your-face, ground and pound. We like to work that timing. We like tempo.
That's
lots
right.
of tempo. Lots of tempo.
That's what I like about the team.
So we really, we want kids running to water and back from water. We don't mind giving them a water break, because that's fine. You're gonna run to that water station. You're gonna run yourself back, and then we're gonna get going again. And then again, if we have a lot of contact, that just puts more on our inside linebackers, more on our O-line, more on our D-line, that they get a lot of hit. And, we do a 15-minute offensive period, twice a week where we get after it. And we want to, our goal is to always get 3 plays to 1 minute. So
that's a lot of plays.
We talk about if we hit our goal, our linemen are going to get hit 45 times in 15 minutes.
And if you have somebody like that hitting you, it's not going to be much fun. So.
Right, and if you go, and then we're going to turn around, and then we kind of, then we don't hit as much, and then we come back for defensive time, they're going to get hit again.
Yeah, that's
not as many as that. So, so that's why we try to limit as much as we can. We do a lot against dummies, a lot against hand shields, so that you don't have.
Never been here. No, I don't.
Yeah. So we don't have much helmet, helmet to helmet, even helmet to shoulder pads, and our linemen get used to punching and punching out, and then when it comes to Friday night, they're healthy and they're used to those mechanics.
There you go. Sounds like a plan to me. I've got one question. This might be a little trick question. Before we stop. A couple of years ago, in 2012, you went over to Aurora and laid a 54-0 pounding on that team, and I wrote a little blog, and I think I might have laid on that praise a little too thick. But talking about that game, what creates a situation like that where you have two unbelievable teams, both were, what makes that happen? Because, it's a,
It was just one of those,
they had to be well prepared, or, everything you did worked.
Yeah, I would say, in my 22 years, it's, to me, it's happened twice. The one year we went talking when I was in Lee. My second year, we weren't eligible for the playoffs. We couldn't even make it anyway. We were 3-5 finished on the season, and Dodge was 12-1. Okay, for their 4th state title. We were the one loss for them. Okay, we won 76-54. We had 1 penalty for 5 yards, 0 turnovers, 0. That Corey Eichmeyer, who ran for 1 billion yards, we did not miss a tackle on him. It was ridiculous. We couldn't do anything wrong. It didn't matter what I called. It was just the players were awesome.
It's just a freaking nature.
And the thing happened.
Yeah.
It just happened. And when we went over there, I remember everything falling into place. Even when we got up to like 35 and 40, then our JVs even came in and did well against our varsity and stuff. And the thing I remember is walking over after the game and saying to Randy Hubert and his staff, each one of us said, "Man, I'm sorry that got out of control, and stuff." And they looked at me and they said, "Will you shut your mouth? Your kids played awesome.
Yeah.
We didn't play very well. We'll live to fight again next Friday. Congratulations." I said, "Oh, coach, that's nice. I'm sorry, this and that." He's like, "No, you did great." And they were as calm as could be. That was a great learning lesson for me. But it's going back to what happened that night. It's just we made some dynamic plays. I remember we ran we call it looking concept, and Zach Rose threw that ball, outstretched hand of an inside linebacker was about 3 inches from, and an outside linebacker about 3 inch. Safety goes to try to pick it off. He misses it. we skate right by the corner, you know. Just one of those things goes wrong, and it's just a dead play, and that's it. And instead, it's a 30-yard touchdown for us. You know, we made some interceptions, you know, which really helped out, and then it was, I don't know, it was pretty neat.
Is it possible? I'm sure you went home that night and thought, how can I bottle this up? But as long as you had been coaching, maybe it's just one of those things that everything fell into place. And as time went on, you know, kids sometimes get a little discouraged on the other side of the ball. So I don't know if you can bottle it up. I don't know if you can bottle up what happened that night and do it again.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You know what? I hope it, you know, each of those games were 20 years apart. I hope it's not the next 20 before it happens again.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's not something that really is in the norm that you want to see all the time.
It was,
especially if you're on the short end of it.
Yeah. You know, and our worst nightmare came true when we had to come back and play them in the playoffs.
Oh, I know.
And then we lose Connor Eberhardt the week or two before that with the shoulder, and then we lose Austin Dishman. You know, 3-year starter both ways. You know, center. We lose him first or second series. You know, and we played our kids laid it all out there. It was a great game. We lost by, you know, touchdown, maybe 3 points, something like that. You know, and do I think we had the better team? Absolutely. You know, but not that night. They made some good adjustments, and we were down a couple horses.
I bet you would trade that 54-0, you know, for a loss and then win in the playoffs.
You bet.
One more question, and it doesn't have to be a current player. Who's the greatest player? And it doesn't have to be, well, they went to college, were successful. The toughest, most dedicated football player you've ever coached in your career. And it can be at Lee or wherever.
Gosh, you know, when I was at Lee, I had Eric Fisher who had been going to Nebraska, but I only had him for 1 year. When I was at Gordon, we went on a nice run. Eric Roth has just a giant place in my heart. You know, and then when I left, he had a good Chapman State career, and then came back and took over for me when I left at Gordon. You know, Sean Eisenrich, who had a tremendous college career, now doing very well in high school coaching at Casper Natrona. Won several state titles there. You know, those kind of
learned
kids.
from a master, didn't he?
I don't know, just learned to throw it around.
And how about that split end that you had maybe in that 2004 that went to Morningside? Maybe I can't remember that kid's name. Was he a wide receiver? Began with a C. I can't.
Lane Haller, you know, was real good. Austin Forster went to Nebraska, then went to Shatter and had a good career. You know, Alex Larson here was, you know, tremendous.
Oh, yeah.
He was just those light feet, great attitude, you know, those type of kids. The Justin Rourke type, you know, coaching right now. Christian's fun to be around. Nobody more dedicated.
No, I'll agree with that. Yeah.
And you know, Brooke Brown, dedicated to all sports. You know, does a nice job. It's hard to kind of, you know, lay one to me. It's hard for me not to take a quarterback.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Can I take them all?
You
Can put them all together?
And I didn't know, a lot of people don't know what you coach, and you're obviously the quarterback's coaching. That you handle the whole offense here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But you just don't know looking at a guy, you know, like Ron Mimica's offense, Jeff Tomlin his defense. You don't know that unless you go back and in their past and see that. And your dad was the same way. Is that correct?
Yeah. He loves those O-line.
Okay.
He was always offense. My brother doesn't know that there's another side of the ball.
I don't think he does, but
no.
So anyway, well, we know a little bit about Coach Kevin Stein now, and I really thank you for being with me today. It was my pleasure, and good luck the rest of the season. I think the Vikings are going to do very well going.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Zach Mayhew behind the camera for the Independent.com and Endzone Online. This is Bobby Mills.